Our conversation this week on Politics on Sunday is with Ayobami Oyalowo, a political development economist. Welcome to the program, sir.
Political and development economist. Thank you for having me.
Okay, then let's start with global politics now. We see President Muhammadu Buhari. He's had a busy week at the United Nations General Assembly. He also delivered a speech there where he talked about the fight against insecurity, called for more support, global collaboration, and all of that. But in your own view, how has the president performed so far? Was he able to really advance the cause of Nigeria and indeed the region, West Africa and Africa?
Well, in my estimation, I think the president was clear in what he wanted. Even before he left, he wrote an op-ed that was released before he left, where he said for terrorism to be defeated in Africa, and especially with the Nigerian example, it will have to be done not by guns and boots, but by bricks, by one train station to the other, by one infrastructure to the other. So clearly he is talking about the fact that yes, terrorism is a global challenge, but for Africa, poverty is a bigger challenge. So if we're able to de-emphasize, I mean not de-emphasize in this instance, but I mean if we're able to combat poverty more frontally and holistically, then clearly you will reduce the scourge of terrorism, because when you have a huge population of young people who are practically, in quote, useless economically, they are easy to be recruited by somebody who promised them that if you die for a certain kind of belief, you will get rewarded in some other places, when nobody has ever gone there to tell us whether it is true or not, but people will believe whatever they want to believe. So these are the challenges. So the president had made this the fulcrum of his mission to the United Nations before he left. And in my estimation, I listened to his speech yesterday, and I think he delivered it succinctly the way he should, and it was clear that his focus clearly is global terrorism is there, no doubt about it. Africa is combating its own kind of terrorism, no doubt about it. But what Africa needs more, yes, we need the West to help with equipment and military aid. But beyond military aid and equipment, there should be some form of, not even something very seriously done in terms of combating poverty. And that was the focus of the president. And I think I agree with him in that light. And therefore, when you bring it home to Nigeria, I think our population, while it's a good thing, I think we need to start having a conversation on population, on controlled population. We need to find a way of controlling the population, because in just when was the last census? The one was held in 1991. Yeah. We were 88 million. Yeah. So 1991 to now is it 30 years now? Yeah, it's 30 years now. We are estimated to be 200 million. Yeah. So we have doubled, and even more than that in just 30 years. Very dangerous in my estimation, very dangerous. Yeah. We cannot cope with that. If we continue to do that, no matter what you do, you will have problems. So those are the areas I am also looking at. But for the president, I think he's done his own part.
They're still sticking with security issues now. You know, even back home here, we've seen the military adopt a kind of carrot and stick approach, asking the insurgents if they are ready to lay down their arms, then they'll be given some kind of amnesty. But that is now very controversial. People are saying, should we really see them as repentant?
I think people are getting it wrong. I saw what the military was saying. There's no amnesty for them, no amnesty. You see, we get so emotional that we lose the facts of the matter. You can do this war in a kinetic way, but the non-kinetic war is what will eventually win. No matter the battle you fought, First World War, Second World War, Iraq War, whatever war, on the long run, you have to still come back to the negotiation table. You cannot continue to fight forever. Our military is overstretched. I pity them. We are fighting in Zamfara, they are fighting in Sokoto, they are fighting in Borno, they are fighting in Adamawa, they are fighting in the southeast. It's no country can sustain this for too long. If you look at our budget right now, as I speak to you, over 20-25% of our budget is into military equipment, hardware, and all these things. We cannot sustain this. We already have problem with agriculture, with feeding and everything, and we keep fighting war. So clearly, there must be a way where the military says, okay, look, we're going to keep fighting this fight. But for those of you who think, and I don't know whether you follow the news, I read a few of them who say, look, some of us were actually forced into these things. We know young men that were conscripted, children that were stolen as a teenage or as 10, 8 years old, who have now spent 5, 6 years, and they've started carrying guns. So those kind of people, if you are able to bring them, and the military is not releasing them, I've had a lot of misinformation. What happens is, if you don't want to fight again, okay, there's a process that you must go through. And for all the misunderstanding in the airwaves to date, nobody can point to one released among all these guys. So which means the military has not released anybody. There is a way they are holding them. I'm sure the process must be fully completed. And I'm sure there are some of them that will never be given amnesty, because those ones are fully guilty. The military was very clear, because I took my time to listen. The ones who can never be forgiven will never be forgiven. But those people who were by situation or circumstances forced into, okay, look at, for instance, about 2 of those Chibok girls just got back recently. Now, some of them have children there, and that is what has happened to some other ladies who may not be as popular as the Chibok girls, but who also have been kidnapped, who has been forced. So you want them to be killed or punished for something that is truly beyond. So we need to learn to dimension this and be less emotional about it. Rationality will be what will pay us better than this emotional. Yes, they've killed people, they must be killed back. But we are signatory to so many United Nations charter. And when an enemy, no matter how much you hate him, no matter how horrible the enemy is, has surrendered, you have no right to shoot and kill somebody who has surrendered in a war. So clearly and our military is a professional military. So we need to respect this. So what I expect us to do, I want the media to do more of going to research, ask more questions, and educate Nigeria more. Not what I see our radio and whatever doing, making unfounded allegations, telling people to make calls, inciting the populace. It is terrible. We don't do that. You see, what many of us don't understand is this. A country continues as long as your military is available. And the military is available as long as they still have the will to fight. The day a military of a country lost the will to fight, that is the day they've lost to the enemy. It is just something that happened over a month ago recently. When Taliban came in, you know America has trained over 300,000 military men. They refused to fight. So it was so easy to take over. We don't respect what our military is doing. The day our negative talks and our insults and curses will get these guys to lose the will to fight, none of us will sleep in our homes again. The disrespect I see Nigerians pass on to Nigerian military breaks my heart. These people give their life for us. They live in the bush, they die in the bush, they live inside gutters just so that me and you can live on our beds and sleep. And then every day on radio and TV, people are insulting them. It is wrong. So I expect the journalists to do more of learning, asking more questions so that they can educate Nigerians better, so that we'll all be better informed about how these things are done, rather than all this nonsense calling program where people just pass on ignorance and incite the populace. It is dangerous for us. It is dangerous for our military. It is risky for our corporate existence.
Okay, let's talk about another issue. Now, if you look at these insurgency, big banditry, kidnapping for ransom, a lot of people involved in all of these are young people. And you also talked about so many young people without jobs, left to fend for themselves. We also saw that play out during the EndSARS crisis, and by October 20, it will be 1 year after EndSARS. Judicial panels were set up across the country to compensate and even help people get redress for certain things allegedly done to them by the police. We've seen Lagos State and a few other states pay compensation and just try to ensure that people bury the hatchet. But some other state governments are foot dragging on this. Are we not still playing with a very dangerous situation where the youths might again say they are fed up and we see
I will break this down gradually. First and foremost, we have a problem with population that is not controlled, a population that is not well structured. When I was young, I went to primary school in the 80s and then my secondary school in the 90s. I finished my secondary school in 1990. And during those times, anybody can go to school anywhere. You could go to school with some of the best children, the children of some of the richest people in the country, and there was no issue. We all sat in the same classes. But over time, we have classism. Now, if you can't put your child in a private school, most of the public schools are nothing but breeding ground of criminals. Simply because we have lost what made us people, what made us humans. Recently, you see some videos flying around, you see young people maybe some of them are just entering their teenage, committing all manner of crime, joining cults, some of it on videos. So we are losing this battle of the next generation. And if nothing is done, we will no longer have a country. Because when the entire generation, an entire generation is fixated on crime and criminality, just look at the arrest being made by the EFCC recently and the drug NDLEA, you will be amazed. Young people destroying their future. A lot of people, I have worked post-NYC now for close to 25 years. I know the things I aspire to have that I still don't have, and I still pray to get them. I still keep working hard. You see a young man of 18 wants to have what I have not been able to achieve. And it's not because he is brilliant, he's smarter, or he can do something special. He wants to achieve these things by crime. You see, I think there's a video just jumping around. A young boy in Delta said who want to pluck his mother's eyes to go and do rituals to make money. These are the dangers we are facing as a country. We have lost the moral ground to blame anybody right now. From the home front, there's a danger. From the religious perspective, there's a danger. The churches, I will talk from my own perspective as a Christian, the churches have decided to join in the bandwagon. Everybody must be rich or God does not love you. And then this is the risk. We don't have a society where hard work is seen as important. Growing up, one of the things that we were taught in Yoruba is that you work so that you will not be poor. Working hard is the antidote to poverty. That if you work well, then you'll be okay. And then there's another one that said, "Ẹni bá jalè lẹ́ẹ̀kan, tó bá di ogún ọdún, tó bá wọ aṣọ àrán, aṣọ olè ló sì dàbora." What he's saying is that if you have stolen once, even after 20 years, and you live in wealth, you are still a thief. Today, thieves are celebrated in our society. We have created a Frankenstein monster that is now consuming us. Now, that is for the moral and the societal destruction. Now, coming to the NSAS issues, so many states have been playing, they are just playing lip service to compensation and all the stuff. Lagos State have been a shining example. They've handled this thing perfect, even though the state is the state that should be more aggrieved because Lagos State was practically destroyed because of this NSAS. So I think other states should take a leaf from it. And this is one of the challenges I have when we keep shouting as a country, we want restructuring. Then when you say you restructure, things that naturally should be done by the state, we want to throw them to the federal government. There are challenges. States should handle these challenges. Most states are hiding themselves. There are states today that things that should be done will not be done. Everybody point to Abuja. We will not go forward that way. So for our young people to be saved, the society must go back and introspect from the home to the religious homes to the schools and the way we train our children. A lot of things are wrong with us. And if we don't get it right, it doesn't matter who rules us. Even if Jesus Christ or Muhammad come from heaven, if people don't have a change of heart, it will not change. The change that we need is from inside of us first. We must begin to see ourselves first as human beings, not as objects. I want to be able to succeed in life so that I can further my life and further humanity. I shouldn't make money so that I can oppress you. You see, that is the difference. My success in life should be to further my life and to bless humanity. But today, no. I want to drive the kind of car that nobody in your generation has driven, so that I can look at you in the face and say, yes, I am there. It is not our mentality about so many things are so wrong. We're not getting it right. And until we get it right, we will continue to chase the shadows. And the shadow we have been chasing is where we are today. Young people committing all manner of crime, killing. Everybody that has been arrested of recent for ritual killing, it is shocking that most of them are in their 30s and below. This is not a society that is planning to have a huge future. It's a society that is trying to destroy itself. And we have to save ourselves from ourselves before one day, me and you will wake up and we will no longer have a society.
I'd like to say something about this viral video of a pamphlet of the NYSC where there's this security advisory even suggesting that they pay ransom when kidnapped, and even telling them how to avoid or how to behave in such a situation. What's your own opinion of that?
Well, I think it's going to be two ways for me. See, clearly, coming from my background as a banker, those days they used to train us on what to expect if we are robbed, what to expect if you are driving and you are attacked. So I think the advice initially was to prepare their mind in case of this kind of thing happening.
Because that's our reality.
However, I think there was something that was in that thing that should never have been there. About tell your parent to pay ransom. I don't know how that thing was couched. I think it was the wrong language. I think it shouldn't have been there. But be that as it may, it tells you how badly we are falling as a society. Where I remember I talk to a lot of young people and I keep telling people that Nigeria is becoming a criminal society. People don't get what I'm saying. I say if you look at South America, I won't mention a particular country. There was a time when kidnapping for ransom was huge business. If you remember in the 90s, footballers of South American extraction, some particular countries can't even go to their countries from Europe because they get kidnapped. But when they don't go home, they kidnap their parents. I don't know if anybody remember this because most of us don't have history in our mind. Now, this has come here too. You see, the challenge we have is this. Nigeria is a broken society that we must all, it's our collective responsibility to fix it. And I will tell you why it's a broken society. If you today, because me and you were nobodies, we don't have big names. If I commit a crime today, I'll be charged adequately and sent to jail. Same with you, I believe. But there are some other people. If no matter what they do, they belong to the right. See, we have created a system that works for some people. And those some people are the minority. So the rest of us are fending for ourselves. So it's a jungle here. And if we don't fix this jungle, one day, everybody will be consumed.
Talking about fixing it, the next opportunity, a lot of people say to fix it is the general election in 2023. But we are already beginning to hear different kinds of argument. The president should come from this region, it should be zoned, and all of that argument are what is beginning to define how a president would emerge next year. What's your own opinion?
My opinion is that we got it wrong in 1999. I will not always forget that because people don't trust what has happened with the way IBB of that time was playing with our intelligence. So when it came finally that Abacha now joined it, he played with our intelligence too. I remember Uncle Bola Ige of blessed memory talked about the 5 fingers of a leprous hand. Many people may not remember this. You see, so by the time Abubakar Salami said he was going to, people didn't trust him. True. Because we've been taken for a ride for over 10 years by Babangida and Abacha combined. So what happened? Most of the intelligent people that should get involved in politics ran away. They didn't. So we allow riffraffs to hijack the country from 1999. We are paying for that today. The worst of us took over the responsibility for our lives. So the best of us are being governed, being directed by the worst of us. So what we now need to do is to rescue this country from this country. You see a situation where a former governor will steal everything that he can find. From there, he goes to the Senate. He remains there. He becomes a resting house for people who should be in jail generally for what they have done. Only a few of them have been jailed. The ones that have been jailed, some of them technicality has left them off the hook. Now, You see the judiciary working alongside them. Judiciary will see somebody who has been accused of stealing billions. They will start using technicality to keep dragging the case, drag. Then one day they say he's fined 1 million. He should go home and sin no more. The one that will be charged for over 100 charges in Nigeria will be free. Go to the UK, will be jailed, and when he comes home, we take them as heroes. So this society is broken. The worst of us. So right now, the kind of politics that have been created, political field that has been created, is a politics for anybody. We don't have the best of us making decisions for the rest of us. Therefore, what can save us, since we have said it's democracy we want to do, my advice would be for people of goodwill to get involved so that this country can be rescued from our hand. Because there's a saying that says, we do not inherit this place from our parents. We are borrowing it from our children. But we are trying to leave nothing for these people. It's dangerous. You see, right now, those who can afford it send their children abroad. Many of them don't come back home. The rest of us who can't afford it, we are here struggling. No good roads in many states, and everybody thinks it's normal. Primary health care center, nobody is building. A few states will build something gigantic that nobody will use, and then they will snap it, and then we all shout, hey, nobody goes there. The one that is very important, which is the primary health center, nobody is bothered. Education, where you grow people. Because what made me to be what I am today, I'm a son of a nobody. But today, I'm on national TV, I'm on international TV, I'm everywhere. It's because I was given a proper education. Are we giving the same thing now to children whose parents don't have money? We have deprived them of this. If you cannot pay some few hundreds of thousands to put your children in good school, you will end up raising either a criminal or an idiot. And this is not the kind of a country that we should. Private schools should be able to compete side by side with the public schools. But we have destroyed that system. So a country that has decided to destroy itself must find a way now to rescue itself from itself, so that that same country, which is Nigeria, can have a future. Right now, we are not acting like a country that wants to have a future. But my belief is this: God has a purpose for what He's doing here. We has a purpose for us being Nigerians. There's a purpose for this program to be holding right now. I'm hoping that people of goodwill will see that, look, Nigeria is at the brink. Everybody who have interest in fixing this country, who wants a good country, a better country, should get involved. We shouldn't leave our country into the hands of riffraffs, no matter how rich they are.
They can only get involved by joining a political party.
That is why some of us have joined parties, whether we like it or not. We have joined a political party which, no matter how imperfect it is, if good men are more in number than the bad people, you will always overtake.
But it seems as if these parties have also skewed the system, because they have made it difficult for even these good people to emerge as candidates.
The truth is, if everybody is going into the political parties or into politics for what they will get, then they will be skewed. But if you go with the right side, mindset that, look, it's either we fix this country so that we'll have a country for our children or not, then people will think. Because clearly, a few of us will be able to run to Canada, a few will run to Britain, a few will run to the US. The truth is 200 million people cannot leave Nigeria. No matter how you do it, 5 million is even too much that will leave. So we cannot all run away. And the places you are running away to, they too start at home and fix their country. If we don't sit here and fix it, even there where they are going, some of them are already facing discrimination there. And then a few of them have carried their bad habit of committing crime. See, it is about ourselves. We must be ready that want to fix this country. Because clearly, we have no other option than to fix Nigeria.
So some people still do not have that trust in an election. That is also the path
you have to build it over the time. America is a 250-year-old country. Nigeria is just 61 in the next few weeks. Yeah. Few days. So we will have to start somewhere. We will have to start somewhere. If we keep sitting down and looking for all the wrong reasons, it's like the man who sat in the room and said, oh, it is raining, so he will not go out. Then they have to know, oh, it is sunny, he will not go out. In the night, it is hungry, he will die of hunger. So we have to start somewhere, no matter how imperfect it is, so that we can all together build a country. Because like I rightly said earlier on, we do not inherit this country from our parents. We are lending it, we are borrowing it from our children. Do we want to leave something for them? Or we want to destroy everything so that we leave another Somalia or another Iraq or Libya for them? Is that what we want to do? It's in our hands.
Well, a fine place to leave it. Political and Development Economist Ayobami Oyalowo. Thank you for your time on the program.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being on this program.
Thank you.